Sarah and Mary, not their real names, are among around 2 million Kenyans who've lost their jobs since the COVID pandemic began. Sarah worked in an electronics shop here in the capital, Nairobi. It went bust during the first lockdown. She said she's had to do sex work ever since to be able to feed her 2 children.
My life has turned into something that I never thought I would be in my life, because if I look at my children in my house, they'll go hungry. So this is what I was left with. You don't have a choice, but it's something that makes you feel, as a woman, it makes you feel unworthy.
She says men paid about $10 for sex at first. That's now dropped to about $2 as the economy's contracted over the last year. The markets are much quieter than they were before the pandemic. A lot of people who lost their jobs here in the city have moved back to the countryside. The people selling food here say demand is really down, and they say that means more wastage of perishables like these bananas. Economists say that the government's taxing people more to try and cover the costs of repaying its large and growing debts, plus a spike in fuel prices has pushed up the price of food and other commodities. The cost of living's going up, making life for most people even harder. A few people have made a lot of money from supplying COVID tests, masks and medical equipment. Some made even more money by being paid to supply them to the government and not delivering anything at all. The latest in decades of corruption scandals. Kenyans are tired of it. So when the International Monetary Fund agreed to lend the government $2.3 billion last month to help through the crisis, thousands of Kenyans took to social media to object to the borrowing of yet more money that they believe will be stolen. But experts say more public spending is still the only way to help people.
The gap between the have-nots and the haves and the have-nots is widening up. The rate at which poverty levels are going to increase. We are going to have so many youths in this country who are going to be engaged in crime as a result of lack of the government measures to be put in place to ensure that the youths can have something to do.
Tourism is one of the country's largest earners of foreign currency. The sector employed about 2 million people. Many of them have been laid off as hotels and lodges now lie empty. Here, women wait by the roadside, waiting and hoping for domestic work, which they say has also dried up, as wealthy employers fear getting COVID. People are running out of options, as did Sarah and Mary. They both say the economic impact of the pandemic has been far more damaging than the virus itself, and they say they want it to be over so they can get hired again and stop having sex for money. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.